GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, Montreal. I'm Marc Beaumont. Tonight we'll unpack why 5 police officers have been suspended over a 2018 chase and hear how NDP leader Avi Lewis is tackling French immersion ahead of his campaign. Traffic is light, but expect minor downtown construction delays. Over to you, Emma.
The Urban Scouts Day Camp, running this weekend at Parc La Fontaine, offers children hands-on activities exploring Montreal's streets, transit routes, and historic landmarks.
The camp operates Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., welcoming ages 6 through 12 to learn navigation skills through guided citywide scavenger hunts.
Registration is free for Montreal residents, with spots filled on a first-come, first-served basis via the city's community portal, open until Thursday evening.
Lots to get to, let's begin, and soon we'll dive into tonight's stories for Montreal, covering arts, community events, and local initiatives. Good evening, Montreal. 5 police officers are set to be suspended today after a Quebec disciplinary tribunal ruled that 3 Sûreté du Québec officers and 2 members of the Service de Police de la Ville de Montréal played a role in a 2018 high-speed chase that left a local woman seriously injured. The tribunal's decision announced this morning marks the first disciplinary action taken in connection with the incident that unfolded on the island streets nearly 8 years ago. Prosecutors had previously highlighted the dangerous tactics used during the pursuit, which culminated in the woman being struck by a police vehicle. Authorities said the suspensions will remain in effect while a full investigation continues, and that the officers will be reassigned pending the outcome. The move underscores the province's renewed focus on accountability within its law enforcement agencies.
Federal NDP leader Avi Lewis is spending today in an intensive French immersion program as he prepares for a campaign tour across the island. The classes, held at a language center in the Plateau, are designed to boost his fluency before he meets voters and backs NDP candidates in several Montreal ridings. Party officials say the move aims to show respect for Francophone constituents and to sharpen his ability to discuss policy in French. The NDP faces a tough outlook in Quebec, with only a handful of seats and several upcoming vacancies in the city's constituencies. Lewis will join local campaign volunteers later this week, traveling to neighborhoods from Mile End to Verdun while continuing his language studies throughout the tour. The program runs 4 hours each day, and Lewis hopes to converse confidently at upcoming town hall meetings.
The city announced today that the vacant low-cost seniors housing block in Park Extension will be torn down and rebuilt. Municipal housing officials say the structure has sat empty for almost 4 years after residents were displaced for essential repairs, and they consider renovation no longer feasible. City Council approved the plan in a vote earlier this month, allocating funds for demolition and design. The decision calls for demolition to begin later this year, followed by construction of a new affordable housing complex on the same site. Officials emphasize the plan aims to restore much-needed senior housing while addressing the deteriorated condition that led to the earlier eviction. The new development is expected to include 24 units of accessible apartments, a community space, and ground-level retail to serve local residents. Construction is slated to start in early spring, with completion targeted for late 2027.
Today, the City of Montreal has opened a citywide survey to capture how downtown construction is affecting residents. The Office of Public Consultation, led by Philippe Burke, is fielding questions about noise, traffic delays, and safety concerns as a wave of new projects reshapes the core. Officials say the growing number of sites, from high-rise towers to transit upgrades, has sparked complaints, prompting the city to measure public sentiment and refine its response. The online questionnaire, available in both official languages, will run for several weeks and is being promoted through community centers, local businesses, and social media. Burke emphasized that the data will help prioritize mitigation measures and keep the downtown experience livable for commuters, shoppers, and neighborhoods alike. Residents can share their experiences while the consultation remains open now today.
Urban fishing is quickly becoming a favorite pastime for residents along the Lachine Canal, the St. Lawrence River, and the Rivière des Prairies. Local enthusiast Annabelle Marceau, known online as Anna Outdoors, has been documenting the surge on social media, highlighting families and solo anglers alike casting lines from park benches and dockside walkways. The city's waterways host an impressive mix of bass, pike, walleye, and trout, drawing newcomers eager to try a sport that feels both relaxed and connected to nature. Community groups are organizing informal meetups, sharing tips on sustainable catch and release practices and spotting the best hidden spots. As the summer heat lingers, more people are swapping bike rides for a quiet hour of casting, turning the island's historic canals into lively yet peaceful fishing corridors. Local shops along the waterfront have even begun stocking fresh bait and simple tackle kits for beginners. We'll look at why the case halted funding for the Brossard Rem Tower project and what that means for commuters. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back, Montreal. After that break, we turn to the pulse of the city, Emma Leclair, with today's local stories you need to hear.
Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec has halted its financial participation in the residential tower development plan near the Panama station of the Réseau Express Métropolitain in Brossard. The decision announced this week pauses the funding that was slated to support the construction of large apartment towers expected to break ground in the fall. Developers indicated that the suspension does not cancel the project outright, but it delays the start of work that would have begun later this year. The move comes as the province's largest institutional investor reassesses its exposure to the high-rise housing market near the new REM corridor. Local officials said the pause could affect the timeline for additional housing units intended for commuters, though no new completion date has been set. The case said it will review the project's financial model before deciding on any future contributions.
From the 1st of May through the 21st of July, Quebec's health ministry warned that a surge in cyclosporiasis prompted a simple precaution: buy produce grown here in the province. Officials noted that reported infections climbed to 140, up from roughly 40 earlier in the year, and that the parasite often travels on fresh vegetables and fruits contaminated during handling. By choosing locally sourced lettuce, tomatoes, berries, and other items, residents can reduce exposure to the organism that causes intestinal distress, nausea, and prolonged diarrhea. The advisory reminded shoppers to check labels, ask vendors about origins, and wash produce thoroughly before consumption. Health authorities emphasized that the measure complements standard food safety practices and aims to protect families during the summer harvest season. Local farmers' markets reported a steady increase in demand, and many grocers began highlighting regional origins on their signage.
CBC Quebec will posthumously name civil rights pioneer Gloria Bailey's a Black changemaker today, recognizing a career that still resonates across the province. Bailey's, a registered nurse who built a successful business and fought for equality, helped shape Canadian human rights legislation in the 70s and 80s. CBC spokesperson Dion Codrington said the honor reflects Bailey's lasting influence on the fight for fairness and inclusion. The ceremony, slated for later this afternoon, will highlight her role in landmark cases that secured protections for minority communities. For Montreal families who grew up hearing her story, the acknowledgement underscores how one person's determination can alter the legal landscape. The broadcast will feature remarks from community leaders and archival footage of Bailey's advocacy work, offering a reminder of the roots of today's rights protections. Listeners can tune in to CBC Radio 1 at 6 o'clock this evening for the full tribute.
Organizers of the city's Pride Festival announced they will boost security ahead of the upcoming celebrations, dedicating roughly 10% of the event budget to safety measures. The decision follows the deadly attack on a Berlin Pride gathering, which has spurred a wave of precautionary reviews across the continent. Police will work alongside volunteer marshals, and additional lighting and surveillance cameras will be installed along the main parade route. Ticket holders can expect visible checkpoints and a coordinated response plan that aims to keep crowds protected while preserving the festival's vibrant atmosphere. City officials have approved the extra spending, stressing that the priority is a peaceful, inclusive gathering for families, friends, and allies. Local businesses along St. Catherine will also receive guidance on emergency procedures, ensuring a coordinated effort throughout the neighborhood. The enhanced protocol will be in place when the parade kicks off later this summer.
Monday evening, Scouts Urban's Day Camp in Montreal opened its doors to children between 9 and 14, offering a hands-on lesson in city navigation using paper maps rather than smartphones. Over the course of the day, participants learned to read street grids, plot routes to landmarks, and practice orienting themselves without digital aids. Organizers said the program aims to restore confidence in traditional map skills and encourage independent travel across the neighborhood. The camp follows a model that has been operating in Toronto for 10 years, though it is not affiliated with Scouts Canada. Parents noted the practical focus, noting how the exercises could help youngsters move safely to school, friends' houses, or community centers. The initiative reflects a growing interest in low-tech ways to explore the urban environment. The session ran from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, giving families a day of map-based adventure.
Now let's turn to the weather for a quick look at tonight's conditions.
A low-pressure ridge drifts east, pulling humid air inland, while the jet stream sharpens tonight's rain band. On this date, Montreal once burned at 31.4 degrees Celsius in 2025, a blistering spike tied to a regional heat dome. The cold counterpart fell to 13.9 degrees Celsius in 2017, when an Arctic surge snuck south behind a stalled front. Normal July highs hover around 24 degrees, with lows near 19. Those extremes underline how the current low-pressure envelope can swing temperature dramatically, depending on whether warm advection dominates or polar air punches through. The radar map glows with a narrow band of echoes stretching from the southwest toward the St. Lawrence corridor. Those cells moved into the suburbs at 5 and are marching east at a brisk pace. By 7, the core will brush the island, delivering light rain for this hour. The heaviest echoes peak near 9 over the east end, then dissipate as the low-pressure core lifts northward. The screen clears shortly after 10. At 6 p.m., the sky hangs mostly cloudy with a temperature of 23 degrees and a dew point near 20. Low pressure is nudging upward, allowing drier air to filter in behind the rain band. The jet stream rides at 65 kilometers per hour from the southwest, steering the remaining showers eastward. Light rain arrives at 7, then tapers off as the core moves north. By 9, the city will sit under clearing skies, and the temperature will dip toward 19 as night settles. UV index holds at 3. Wind remains mild, max 16 from the southeast. A severe thunderstorm watch blankets the island and surrounding regions, so stay alert for gusts and brief downpours. With the system exiting, the night will be quiet as we turn to the 5-day outlook. Wednesday brings a high near 24 degrees and a low around 18. Overcast clouds dominate, and a 40% chance of rain lingers as the next low-pressure trough slides in. Thursday eases to a high of 26 with a low of 18, still overcast, but with only 20% rain odds as the jet stream lifts slightly. Friday clears, reaching 27 at peak and 19 at night, the only day of the stretch without measurable precipitation. Saturday holds another 27 high and a low of 20, though cloud cover returns for the evening. Sunday rounds the period with a high of 24, a low of 19, and a 50% rain risk as moisture streams back from the Great Lakes. The pattern swings from a spell to a dry spell before another wet front arrives. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
We've got minor traffic delays, a look at today's must-see events, and the Habs off-season chatter. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Cavendish Viaduct is shut both ways between Rue Griffith and Kemin Dalton, forcing all traffic onto the St. Laurent corridor. Drivers should divert to Rue St. Denis or the Daiquiri Expressway, but expect slowdowns on those routes through St. Laurent. In Verdun, Rue Lesage is closed from Rue Hickson to Boulevard Champlain, so north-south traffic is being rerouted onto Rue de la Commune and Rue Wellington. Over in Montreal Nord, Avenue Jean Munier between Rue Jules Fournier and Rue Damas is also closed, with detours directing motorists onto Boulevard Henri Bourassa and Rue La Jeunesse. A minor obstruction holds up southbound Chemin de la Côte des Neiges at the Chemin-Belvedere intersection. Traffic moves through, but at reduced speed. Water service work is ongoing on Boulevard des Sources between Boulevard de Pierrefonds and Rue Pavelin, and on several streets in St. Laurent, including Rue Nantel and Rue Abbot, causing intermittent lane closures. All metro and bus lines remain operational, so commuters can rely on transit for the evening.
The cultural calendar is quiet today, but the city's rhythm never stops. Keep an eye on the local sunset for the festivals, concerts, and community happenings that will fill the week ahead. Stay tuned for what's next. And now here's Jason with sports.
Off-season buzz heats up as trades, youth and all-star dreams reshape the Habs. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and rookie Lane Hudson discussed Hudson's debut, while Ivan Demidov earned a shout-out as a potential breakout candidate. Montreal also swapped Sean Farrell for Sasha Pastujov, adding depth at wing, and veteran goalie Jake Allen voiced doubts about the three-goalie rotation. The Canadiens' acquisition of forward Sasha Pastujov for Sean Farrell reshapes the right-wing depth chart, inserting a versatile scorer with a proven two-way game. Farrell's exit opens a slot for a younger prospect, while Pastujov's restricted free status signals Montreal's intent to lock in a long-term asset. Juraj Slavkovsky, a two-time Olympic star, is projected onto Team World for the 2027 All-Star Game, underscoring his rising profile. The nod adds pressure to cement his elite status and gives Montreal a marquee forward to build around as the season approaches. Reports link the Columbus Blue Jackets forward Kirill Marchenko to a pending trade, with Montreal listed as one of two potential destinations. If the Habs land Marchenko, they would add a high-upside winger to complement their youthful core and deepen the second line. With most rebuilding clubs bolstering rosters with veterans, Montreal remains the league's youngest squad, highlighting a continued commitment to developing homegrown talent. The youth infusion promises speed and upside but also signals a marathon rebuild, where patience will be the Habs' greatest ally. Aaron Ward praised the Habs' strategic hire of Derek Lalonde, noting his defensive acumen will sharpen the blue line. Meanwhile, Slavkovsky's trajectory sparks debate on his next role, and Jet Greaves secured a 3-year, $15 million deal in Columbus, underscoring market demand for young talent.
Good Food, the homegrown meal kit company tucked into St. Laurent, has been a staple for busy Montreal families looking for fresh, locally sourced dinners. The business, which delivers pre-portioned ingredients and chef-crafted recipes to doorsteps across the island, now faces a material uncertainty about its ability to keep operating. Over the past 3 fiscal quarters, it has recorded net losses exceeding $9 million and carries convertible debentures of $29 million due in March 2027. Management says they are reviewing strategic alternatives to stabilize the balance sheet. For the neighborhood, Good Food's presence means more than convenient meals. It supports local farmers, creates jobs, and keeps a piece of Montreal's culinary innovation alive. That's why the future of Good Food matters to all of us. And now a bright note. Urban fishing is booming across Montreal, bringing fresh fun to our waterways. Stay tuned for the story.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theater Filler changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
On an evening in the Plateau Mont-Royal, the Duval family gathers around a television, the scent of simmering onion soup drifting from the kitchen. Their teenage daughter Leia has just set up the new Prime Video app, eager to catch the first of 7 Montreal Canadiens games that will now be streamed every Wednesday across the country. As the opening notes of the national anthem swell, neighbors on the balcony wave a shared red scarf, and a retired coach from the nearby community center leans in, recalling his own first game at the Forum. The screen lights the living room, but more than the puck sliding across the ice, it illuminates a sense of belonging that stretches from downtown to the far-flung suburbs. Parents watch their children cheer, strangers become friends over the roar of a goal, and the city feels a little tighter, linked by the rhythm of the game and the ease of a click. Tonight, Montreal isn't just watching hockey, it's sharing a moment that reminds us why we gather. It's a reminder that the love of the game can bring us together no matter where we are.
Emma Leclair, tonight, a sudden summer thunderstorm rolled over the plateau, turning St. Laurent Boulevard into a river of shimmering reflections. Residents gathered under the awning of the little bakery on Rue St. Denis, where the owner Marie handed out warm croissants and hot chocolate to anyone who stopped by, rain-soaked shoes and all. Co-anchor, it's the kind of spontaneous kindness that makes you wonder, what would we do without each other when the clouds open up? Emma, exactly. As the sky cracked and the rain fell in steady sheets, a group of teenagers from a nearby high school set up a makeshift puddle jump station on the sidewalk, encouraging younger kids to splash safely while their parents filmed the joyful chaos. The sound of laughter rose above the thunder, and even the storm seemed to pause, as if listening to the community's heartbeat. When the downpour finally eased, the streets glistened like polished glass, and the bakery's front door stayed open, a beacon of warmth for anyone still wandering home. It reminded us that even a fierce storm can't wash away the simple, shared moments that bind us together.
Thanks, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's look at the city's new urban fishing surge reminded us how our waterways connect us all. Stay tuned tomorrow for fresh stories and deeper insight. We'll also revisit the citywide construction survey and what it means for downtown life. I'm Marc Beaumont. See you then.